How can you practice speaking English if you have nobody to speak to? This is a problem that my students talk to me about all the time. And in today's video, I want to address this. I want to give you some practical advice you can use to start speaking English. Even if you don't know anybody to practice with, you don't know anybody who's a native speaker, or you are not in an English-speaking country. This is very common among students who are not in English-speaking countries. Obviously, if you're not in an English-speaking country, if you're not in an environment where you can practice English, it's going to be harder for you. But even if you immigrate to Canada, even if you immigrate to the US or to the UK, a lot of students have problems finding people to speak with there. Even though they're in that environment, they might not get out of their comfort zone. They might not make an effort to meet native speakers. So this is a problem that students from all over the world face. And if you're learning English, there's a good chance you might have this problem too. Now, first of all, you can practice speaking to yourself. Sounds weird, but it works. And I used this strategy when I was learning German. You can speak to yourself. You can actually have a conversation with yourself in the mirror or in the shower. Maybe when nobody's looking, you can practice speaking to yourself. It's a good way to practice what you've learned, to open your mouth, to practice your pronunciation. Obviously, it's not ideal, but you can do this. You can practice with yourself, and I would recommend it. I would recommend spending 10 minutes in the morning in front of the mirror talking to yourself. Because believe it or not, this helps. It's not as good as a normal conversation, but it's better than nothing. And another thing you can do is you can use technology. We are very fortunate to live in a world where we have access to so much technology. Obviously, there are downsides to technology. But one of the biggest benefits is that we can use technology to improve our English. Or if you're learning any language, you can use technology to improve or to learn a language. And I actually have a free training video. You can watch it by clicking the link in the description below, where I tell you how you can use technology to improve your English. Now, one of the things that we can take advantage of is AI, artificial intelligence. And a lot of students have been using ChatGPT not only to practice writing, but to also practice speaking. If you get the app, there's a ChatGPT app, you can actually have conversations with the AI. And I've personally not used this method myself, but a lot of my students have, and they've said it works well for them. So you can try this out. Obviously, speaking with AI or speaking with ChatGPT is not as helpful or as realistic as speaking with a real person. So yes, you can use ChatGPT, but it should never replace actual human interaction. Technology is there to help us. It's not there to replace us. Now, when it comes to meeting real people, one of the things I recommend is going to language exchanges. A language exchange is essentially just a meeting of people from different cultures, from different countries, and it's normally done in person. So let's say you're in Mexico City. You're from Mexico City, you've lived in Mexico City all your life, and you want to improve your English. I have a few students who are in that exact same situation. Well, in Mexico City, there are actually a lot of native English speakers. I could be wrong, but I think Mexico has the second largest number of Americans outside of the US. So let's say you want to meet a native English speaker to practice speaking English with. You can go on Facebook, type in your city, so in this case, Mexico City, and then language exchange. Mexico City Language Exchange. And you'll probably find a lot of different events, maybe even a Facebook group or a Facebook page. And you can go to these events. Normally they're at a bar, maybe a cafe. There might be other locations as well. But the goal is to meet native speakers of a different language so you can practice that language, but so that they can also practice yours. So I really do recommend Facebook groups, Facebook pages. Look for events in your area. There might be an English book club. There might be a language exchange, something related to language, which will actually allow you to go there and to meet new people, to practice speaking in real life with real people. This is really, really valuable. And if you're in Canada, if you're in the US, if you're in Australia, the UK, if you're in an English-speaking country, you can do this same thing, but you actually have more options available to you. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of students come to the US, they come to Canada, they come to the UK, and they still don't have anybody to speak with because they don't get out of their comfort zone. They don't make an effort to meet native English speakers. It's very easy to, especially nowadays, to meet people from your own country and to practice your own language with them, and not to meet native English speakers and not to actually practice speaking English. So if you want to improve your English, obviously you have to be in a situation where you meet people who also speak English. You can not only look for language exchanges on Facebook or other social media platforms, but you can also just look for events or activities. So let's say you love hiking. Well, go on Facebook. Let's say you move to Canada, to Vancouver. I'm from Vancouver. You like hiking and you're in Vancouver. Well, look on Facebook for a hiking group in Vancouver. It's not a dedicated language group, but there will probably be a lot of native English speakers, or at least people who speak English. So you can go hiking, you can make some new friends, but you can also practice your English. So use Facebook, use these groups, get out of your comfort zone, meet new people, and practice speaking English. For most students, there is no excuse. We have all this technology available to us. We can meet people from all over the world. Use this to your advantage. There's a common belief that to improve your English, you have to speak with native speakers. That's not true. You don't need to speak with native English speakers to improve your English. Yes, it's great to speak with native speakers. It's helpful most of the time, but it's not always necessary. And I actually don't recommend only speaking to native speakers. Because let's be honest here. Statistically speaking, there are more non-native speakers in this world of English than there are native speakers. That's crazy. So more people speak English in the world as a second language than they do as a first language. So statistically, you're more likely to meet somebody who speaks English as a second language. And if you don't have any experience interacting with people from certain countries, with certain accents, with certain ways of speaking, whether they're native speakers, whether they're non-native speakers, it doesn't matter. You're going to have problems understanding them. So yes, it's important to speak to native speakers, but it's just as important and it's just as helpful to speak to non-native speakers. So you should be speaking with both. Another benefit of speaking to non-native speakers is that they understand your challenges. They understand your struggles because they're also learning English, or they have learned English in the past. So they know what it's like to learn a second language. A lot of native English speakers don't speak a second language, which I think is very bad. I think it's great to learn more than one language. It really broadens your horizons. But it means if you only speak one language, it means that you probably can't relate to somebody who speaks English as a second language. So speaking to non-native speakers is great because they can help you on your journey. They can offer advice. They can talk to you about what worked for them. So it's very, very useful to speak to non-native speakers. So don't think that you should only speak to native speakers, because that's a big, big, big myth. Now, I've mentioned talking to people in real life, which I think is awesome. I also mentioned technology. And we have to take advantage of all the amazing technology we have in this day and age. We have the internet, we have computers, we have phones. If you would like to improve your English with me, I have some great programs that will help you improve your grammar, your speaking, your vocabulary, your writing, your reading, and so much more. You can learn more about these programs in the description below. Just click the link in the description and you'll find everything there in one place. As I said, technology is a huge advantage. So don't miss out on this opportunity. Don't miss out on the chance to improve your English using modern technology. Today we've talked about improving your English if you don't have anybody to speak with. There are different ways you can do it. You can speak to yourself. You can use ChatGPT, you can use AI. You can also use Facebook. You can go to language exchanges, you can join different groups. And of course, you can also use technology to study live, to meet people, and to speak with them over the internet. I hope you found this video useful. Make sure to let me know in the comments what kinds of lessons you'd like to see from me in the future. Don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe to English at the Ready here on YouTube so you don't miss any future videos. And if you want to study with me, click the link in the description below to learn more. I'll see you in the next lesson.